Hello everyone and welcome to the greatest spectacle that the country of Qatar has been associated with. It is of course GRS Round 9 here in the Lusail International Circuit for the F1 tier, the tier that is getting spicy at the top of the championship. 5 points is the gap between three of them. The top three are separated by 5 points after a crazy race last time out with multiple glitches, 2 red flags, and ultimately Yerne closing that gap in the McLaren yet again to the top 2 of Luke and Paco in no particular order. We will have a look at the standings. We'll do that now, actually. Just to confirm what I was saying, yes, Paco 116, Luke Mills 111, Yerne Dodgeman 111. 5 points between the top 3, so that will be very, very tasty. Also, the Constructors is close. 2 points between McLaren and Mercedes, which is something to look out for. Aston Martin are still bottom, however, but that is completely fine. We also have Oscar McCracken in P4, the Ban Merchant in P5 there, Alyosha in 6th on 66, Timo's not racing today, he's in 7th, Villius 8th, Mitchell 9th, and Matt Bailey rounding out the top 10 in terms of the drivers' standings. So yeah, here we are in Qatar. Let's go to the on-track action. How long has my mic been muted? I've been yapping for like a minute and a half. I was yapping so much, I forgot to oh dear. Oh dear. Anyway, I was about to say that Oscar McCracken is starting a lap and going to show us how expertly as he takes out the DRS board, trying to get the minimum resistance in the floor. Into turn 1 we go. And I want the telemetry on. Can I have the telemetry on? There we go, that's what we want to see. Turn 2 now, using a lot of the curb on the left-hand side. Let's see how much he pushes the track limits on this opening run here. Through sector 1. Oh, he's run wide. He's run wide. And that will be the end of that lap for him. The next one on a lap is... That's not who I wanted to pick. Jarvis, I think. Could be. Could be. Maybe it's his teammate Alex King. It is. Let's go to Alex King. He has made it through Sector 1 unscathed with a 29.8. What I was talking about while I was muted is Qatar being a very high track for tyre wear. In fact, I don't even know how long I was muted for, so I don't know what you missed. But it's very high track for tyre wear. I myself did a league race here a couple months ago when the game first came out and managed to do a 2-stop. And everyone else easily did a 1-stop. And I got 2 punctures, so that was enough for me. I wasn't fancying doing that again. But I will return for some more F2 shenanigans next week. Anyway, Alex King here, first to set a valid time, I believe. So he's going to cross the line. No, it's not. It's actually Ian with a 20.9. But Alex King beats that with a 20.7. Already 1.4 seconds clear of what I set in that league race I was talking about. As we see Jarvis doing a 21.7, absolutely revving the engine across the line there. We have not a Williams, it's an Alpine of Matthew Bailey crossing the line next, and then a McLaren of Yerne who goes fastest with a 20. 20.1. Luke Mills is next across the line. He's coming through the final corner. Getting on the power nice and early. Overtake engaged. And sets a 20.7. 0.6 off the pace of his championship rival at the moment. At this very early stage of qualifying. That is the wrong Williams I've switched to as Lex goes P7. Let's have a look at Paco, who's also in championship contention. Maybe we should focus on these guys the most out here, as he looked very wide out the final corner. Surprised he didn't invalidate his time. But he goes second fastest until he's quickly replaced by debut driver Primoz here in the Ferrari. He's reserving up today. He's not signed by any team, he's just racing as a reserve. So we'll see how he does. That's a very competitive time from him with a 20.4. Oscar McCracken puts it just behind his teammate with a 20.9. Everybody in the 20s, which for context, the top, let's see, the top 6 right now are all faster than F2 pole yesterday, which was a 20.7. So we are very fast at the moment in this lobby. Let's see what Alyosha is up to in the second McLaren. Obviously fighting for that constructors title with Mercedes. 2 points in it between those guys. So we'll have a look at their teammates as well. Obviously Timo not racing today, so big opportunity for McLaren to pull ahead in the constructors with 2 rounds to go after this one. Flat out through all of these corners. And then a doubt. He's gone flat out. I was expecting a lift and a downshift. Oh, you can tell I haven't watched this track in a while. That is some serious high downforce on that McLaren to get through that corner without even lifting. And it puts him P5 at the moment with a 20.7. Domin Vres is the only one yet to set a time who is on a lap. And he's actually in none ERS deployment at the moment. So it looks like he will be pulling into the pit lane or starting a brand new lap here. It is the pit lane for the Haas driver, having invalidated too many times. Mitra as well pulling into the box. So we'll have a look at Nathan on and out lap. Yeah, we will. It's a good point. We are 20.1 for a first run is quite something. What was the pole time for that race I did a little while ago? Sorry you can't see anything, but nothing's actually happening on the track at this moment in time. Here we go, Qatar Q1 pole time was a 20.3, so we've already beaten that. I mean, this was a while ago in the game cycle, so everyone's got a bit faster, of course. And speaking of going fast, we're going to watch Nathan Powers for a full lap in the Aston Martin, the green machine. Into turn 1 we go. Let's see how this lap pans out for him. A tentative hook of the steering wheel into turn 1, it looked like. Maybe flicking is not the way anymore. There was a handling patch fairly recently, I know. But this looks very smooth from Nathan so far. Not using too much battery in the first sector. What about turns 4 and 5 here? Throws the car in nicely. A 30.1 first sector. That is not purple, because I saw Oscar do a 29.8, I think. So a few tenths down on the best we've seen so far. Getting on power, a bit of overtake through here. Using plenty of the curb, nearly invalidating on that right-hand side there as well. And running wide, and that's enough of that lap. He's going to finish it though. Got a little bit of understeer in that section where he ran off the track. Flicks it down into medium. Is he flat out through both of these corners? He's invalidated his time anyway. Is he going to be flat out through here? No. So how was Alyosha flat out through there? That's insane. That's insane. That is insane. Categorically insane. Anyway, Matthew Bailey's going into turn 1, using plenty of battery on the straight to get here. And let's have a look at some of the off-board shots around Qatar in the dark here. Has he backed out? No, he's not backed out. Big flick into turn 4 and 5. Using plenty of curve. You can hear the rumble strips hooking the inside apex of that next corner, using plenty of curve on the exit as well. This is looking a tidy lap so far from Matthew Bailey in the Alpine. I say that and he gets a snap of oversteer. That's going to cost him a little bit of time down this sort of short straight into the right-hander, and then another left-hander comes quickly at you here. Not too much elevation change at this track though. It's a very flat surface in the desert, so not too much to think about in that department. He's going to use overtake through the flat-out right-handers here to get maximum speed through here. Now let's have a look at the throttle trace through this next corner. A downshift and a tiny lift. A tiny lift as his car's getting out of the way on the right-hand side, and Aston Martin decided to start his lap ahead of him. Bit of dirty air could compromise him there at the final corner, but he's going to get a bit of slipstream to maybe make up for it. He crosses the line, and he does a 21.0, a 3/10 improvement, but only enough for P11. Next up is Alex King, who's invalidated his time. So we're going to watch the big hitters. Luke Mills in the Ferrari is finishing Sector 1, with Yerne just behind him, and Paco is actually towards the end of his lap. He's a 10th and a half up, but he needs another 3/10 to snatch that pole position time at the moment, as that's a really committed penultimate corner there from the Mercedes driver. And again hooking up the final corner well. This looked fast from the brief moments we saw it, and he does go P3 with a 20.3. Luke Mills now is going to attack that same section of track. Really precise, making sure not to cut the corners, keeping that left front just on the white line. And again through the penultimate corner as we head to the final corner. Nice and smooth from the off-board shot. This is very precision driving from everybody, and Luke Mills crosses the line and can only improve to P5. Yerne's been compromised here, or has backed out of his lap as he's let through his teammate, who's going to get a nice slipstream from the Williams of, I want to say Villiers up ahead. It's not Villiers. Villiers is on a lap further round. 10th up for himself. Oh yeah, Jarvis is here. He can score points for Merck, can't he? Forgot about that. Let's have a look at Alyosha's lap then. Four and 5, big downshift, big lift, and then full throttle for the second part. Nice, I like this corner, you know, really hook it in, but then don't do that on the exit. Too much power and a big slide, and ultimately this lap is probably going to be in the bin now. I would have thought, yeah, absolutely. That's it for Alyosha's lap. Let's go and have a look at some other drivers. How about the Aston Martin of Cohen Hargeser? As Villiers does go P6 with a 20.7, a very competitive time for him, faster than F2 pole. So that's now down to P9 that's gone faster than F2 pole. Just shows the difference in tiers. Down into 4th gear and hot lap engaged as we head towards Sector 3 and turn 12 and 13. Almost 2 tenths up here. He could break into the 20s with this lap. Now let's have a look at the throttle trace for the penultimate corner. Flat out, but a downshift. Final corner, what's it going to be? I want to switch to Oscar to see if he's on a lap as well. He goes P10. Oscar's coming into the pits anyway. Ian is on a lap, but he's invalidated his lap, and I think Villiers is pulling into the pit lane. So everyone's done 2 runs now. Some of them have invalidated, of course. It's very easy to do that around here. Yeah, so on to the final set of runs. Yeah. This could be, well, at the moment, let's have a look at the top 5. We've got Yerne in P1 with that banker time he set right at the start of the session. 1/10 exactly clear of the Haas of Mitcha in P2. Paco is 3rd with a 20.3, followed by debutant Primoz in 4th, Luke Mills in 5th, and then Villiers a couple tenths back in 6th with Alyosha and Oscar and Alex King very close behind in the 20.7 club. Oh my gosh, we have people in the chat. I cannot believe this. Usually it is dead. It's incredible. It's incredible. Are we going to have a bit of downtime? Or is anyone going to be on the track? Oh, we are. Oh, hold on. Camels on an outlap for their one and only lap of this session. How about we go full fancy mode with no timing tower, full onboard, and see what he can do with his opening lap and final lap of the day. That's a bit wide. Wasn't sure what to commentate on during that lap, so I was just going to let it run. Ooh. We're up to 10 viewers now. Let's see how he attacks the final sector. I'm going to stare at the throttle trace through the next corner. Flat out again. High downforce for the Red Bull. Anyway, then where's it going to put him? I think bottom half, but I'm not sure exactly when. As he crosses the line, it's P10, exactly P10, exactly halfway with a 120.9. So you know that was actually quite a good lap. There you go. Now is the chance to see who is going to be crossing the line in what order for these final runs. We've got Arjan, followed by Yerne in the McLaren. Is Paco next up? No, it is Jarvis. And then Mitcher. And then the two Ferraris. Luke, Primoz is ahead of Luke. Good to know. We're going to go on board with the Yerne because this is the championship contender in P3. 5 points behind his rivals who are currently 3rd and 5th on the grid. Can he secure this pole position with an excellent lap here? Really using a lot of curb on the inside, throwing it in to turn number 1. And again, using all the width of the track possible and more through this first sector, using those curbs as if they have no grip loss at all, which is probably the case in this game. There's no sand on them here. That is an outstanding sector 1 from what I can see, and it's only marginally up on his previous best. It's a 29.5 for the first sector. Bit of a lock up on the left-hander there, and he throws it into turn 7. Here's the kink of 8. What about 9? Flat out through here. Try not to scrub too much speed. This is a really tricky corner. Can easily lock up and run wide to invalidate your time. But he's negotiated that well now for what I would say is the easy bit, but it's so easy to run wide and invalidate your time and to ruin it all here. He's a 10th.5 up. This could be a 19. A 19 around Qatar. That's outrageous. Let's have a look at the throttle trace for the McLaren in the penultimate corner. Completely flat out. That's how you do it. This is some lap from Yerne and is surely going to extend his advantage at the top as the checker flag is going to fall in about 15 seconds time, but I don't think it will matter when it falls as Yerne crosses the line. It's a 20.0. He just misses out on the 19s. Next across the line is Jarvis, currently 15th, but what can he do to challenge maybe the top 10 with a good improvement? He stays 15th and is actually 4 seconds down on his time. Checker flag is out. Mitcher is 2/10 up, so he could actually challenge for pole here. But he's run a little bit wide through the final corner. Is that going to cost him? Let's have a look at the Ferraris crossing the line after him. He stays second fastest. Primoz next across the line. Also 2/10 up. Goes up to P3. Luke Mills is invalidated his time. He's P5 at best. Next up is Nathan Powers in the Aston Martin. Up to P13 for him as Villiers goes P6. The McLaren of Alyosha is next. He's also 3/10 up and jumps himself into P4. That's a great lap for the McLarens, getting them 1st and 4th at the moment. Alex King in the RB will be next to cross the line. And he goes up to P6. Everyone jumping up the timings with their last lap of the day. Lex improves this by a second, but that's not enough. Cohen Hardiger in the not Red Bull, Aston Martin can only manage 12th. Paco goes to P4, and I think that's your lot. Matt Bailey goes 11th. I've lost track of everything. The Williams has invalidated And Arjan is off the track. There you go. Nobody made it into the 19s. What a dreadful tier, shall we say. But no, in all seriousness, a 20.0 really close at the top in the end between Jerne and Mitchell. But ultimately, that extra half attempt could be crucial in this championship battle. And Jerne takes pole in the McLaren. That was quite something to watch on board. I could never be that precise. It was very impressive. I didn't see any grid pens. Why? Are you expecting grid pens? I did not see any grid pens. Uh-oh. Game, please load the timing screen, please. Thank you. That would be nice. Okay, looks like we're not going to see the timing screen. Whoops. At least, please don't crash stream like you did last week. Please, no. Okay, well, that was your quali order. Yep, nice one, guys. But we are here in the race anyway, so that's all worked well. I don't know why that didn't want to load. So let's have a look what we can see in the pit lane. Because I do love looking in the pit lane. Got plenty of fire extinguishers out the front on the right hand side. No marshals standing. Usually got marshals on the right hand side standing there. The mechanics in the garage are motionless. Both the Haas mechanics and the RB. They don't have any motion. They look quite depressed, to be honest. The Haas ones shouldn't be with their qualifying performance up to P2 on the front row. We've got a couple of static people on the very top of the pit building, but a lot of movement, to be honest. It's quite well animated, this pit lane. A little bit of motion on the pit wall as well from the RB guys. That is wonderful to see. Who do you think is going to win? Any bets on who's going to win? Hard to bet against Jerne, to be honest, because I think he'll back up his quali pace with good race pace. Rumour has it this race has not been good in the other tiers, so hopefully F1 can prove us wrong. As we're ready to go now with 5 red lights, and the lights are gone, and they are racing, and somebody's not got off the line. That's Primoz. He's not even here in the lobby. Oh no, he's dropped all the way to the back. But it's been a good start for the McLarens, up to first and third. Mitch is trying one up the inside, but it looks like the McLaren's going to hold on. Alyosha trying around the outside. Is he going to be able to hold on to this move? He's gone off the track slightly, and I don't think we'll be able to get past the Haas in the end. It's actually Paco making a move on Alyosha, potentially. They're going to be side by side into turn number 4, but Alyosha does hold on. Let's look further back, because we have 3 wide moments, as there's an Alpine up the inside of a Red Bull who's run very wide of Arjan, and he's going to lose a place, potentially to Oscar as well, as we see in the background even more squabbling down the back of the field. Aston Martin and a Haas and a Ferrari all the way at the back there, of course, from not getting off the line, stalling on the grid, shall we say. A very rare sight in the F1 game, of course. Oh, this is a weird camera shot. We're so far away from the action, but we can see the Aston Martin and the Haas fighting it out, and it looks like Nathan's got ahead and stayed ahead at the moment here. It gives us a good chance now to have a look at the positions gained on the opening lap here. As Alyosha is up to P3, 2 places gained. What a start from him. One of them was, of course, the Ferrari that did not get off the line. Clearly looking at something else. Everyone up to place because of that. Cohen up 2, and the Williams of Lucas Hodes is up 3 places. As Nathan Powers is still fighting with the Haas of Domen down here at the back of the field. They're going to have a drag race down into turn number 1. As we flick onto the tyre screen and see that everyone's gone for the medium tyres, apart from Camel, who's on the hards, and because of that we're not going to even look at that screen, because we don't need to. So we'll see how long this DRS train lasts. I've heard DRS trains are very popular at this track, as we see Mercedes of Jarvis running a bit wide and potentially under some pressure from Lucas Hodes. Actually, Lucas Hodes was already ahead of him when he ran wide, and that's the Ferrari running wide and now down to last in P18 at the moment, as Lex gains a place into 17. So who do we think is going to break this train first is my question. Currently the gap is 8 tenths as the Ferrari gets back past the Sauber. I don't know if he made a mistake because he was quite far ahead. But yeah, currently the biggest gap is around Arjan, 7 tenths of a second. To be fair, that is a reasonable shout for a break in the train. Only one DRS zone here, so I would expect the train to break in a few places. But maybe not, especially with the dirty air around here. I feel like some of the corners in the final sector in particular would be really difficult in dirty air to hold on to. Let's have a look at this DRS effect. Let's get the telemetry on the screen and see if Mitchell can make a move for the lead. He's gaining so much on Yerne. He's going to fly one up the inside. A nice easy pass, or is it? As Yerne tries to hold on around the outside. Not quite got enough speed to stay alongside. And into the lead goes the Haas driver of Mitchell as we see a grandstand instead of the action from the off-board heli cam. Is actually Yerne going to have a go into turn 4? He's going to have a go. He's going to have a go. He's not going to have a go. But someone who is having a go is Paco up the inside of Alyosha. This is a dangerous place to go side by side. And Alyosha has held the speed around the outside to hold on to that podium place at the moment. Good driving from all of these guys to keep it clean through there. And if that sort of action continues for the next 26 laps, I think we'll be in for a pretty good race. As Lucas Hodes has had a little incident and he's into the gravel. We see some tyre tracks from the car ahead of Jarvis as well. He's lost some places. Does he have any front wing damage? Potentially. Yeah, on that right-hand side, the end plate is missing. So they've got in a bit of a tangle. Potentially Jarvis spinning Lucas around. Obviously can't confirm that. But yeah, not good for those guys. Down in 17th and 18th at the moment. Anyway, now Mitch has taken the lead. Can he hold on to it? What sort of downforce is he running? Or is it going to be a bit of a DRS passing game between these two guys for a few laps here? As Yerne tucks into the slipstream on the left-hand side, as far left as possible. As Cohen's had a little off, and is actually facing the barriers. Not sure why that has happened. Maybe going into the pit lane now, but had some sort of spin at the final corner. This is some DRS train, and there is the first break of the DRS train. Nathan Powers has lost it, and I think that's because of Cohen's spin, actually. Taking a car out of the train means that from 11th downwards we have lost the train, and that will be very hard to recatch, I think. So it's the top 10 at the moment, all fighting for on-track position. As Camel in 12th also losing DRS to the car ahead. So yeah, a bit of a top 10 race at the moment, but we will see how the tyre wear unfolds. Different drivers may push their tyres differently. The controller drivers versus the wheel drivers. I don't actually know if there are any drivers on the controller in this lobby. I don't know. We'll have to see. If they are extremely good at the game. As the first time penalty of the game goes to the Haas of Dorman. And we're going on board with Paco into turn 1, who's just managing his battery on this occasion. Looks like everyone is all in none as we head through the first couple of corners. Doman's made a place on Camel though. Camel's lost 2 places as the Ferrari driver gets past. He's going to be on a mission to get back to where he started in this race. Or didn't start. Some nice trees on the left-hand side. Very good. Ooh, what a great camera shot. That was nice. As we see 2 McLarens. Are they going to fight each other? Probably not. I think they would work together for this Constructors' title. And maybe the Drivers' title as well in Yerne's case. Wow, we stayed on that camera a long time. Impressive stuff. 6 tenths of a second is the gap now between the top 2, and a further 6 tenths back to 3rd. Everyone's pretty equidistant out here, and in fact Nathan's pushing really hard to get back in DRS. He's using a lot of ERS to get into the 1 second window of Matthew Bailey, who's got a time penalty, and he's not managed to do it on this occasion. That could cost him. Look at how much battery Matt's gotten into the barriers. He goes Arjan. He spins off. I think that might have been what Cohen did as well. On the exit of the final corner, he's pulled into the pit lane. to repair his front wing. That's very unfortunate for him. Got on the power a bit too early, a bit too greedy in the DRS train. I'm impressed that Mitchell has taken the lead and maintained it at the moment. I thought, because he got past so easily, he would have to, you know, the same would happen with Yerne. But obviously, Yerne running that high downforce. Same with his teammate Alyosha, as we saw in qualifying, running flat out through that penultimate corner. Some drivers not being able to do so. Obviously has a big bearing on your straight line speed into turn number 1. The main and probably only realistic overtaking opportunity on this track. Unless you, of course, are very desperate, you could lunge it, I think, up the inside of turn 6 at the end of sector 1. And then you could carry that battle on through 7 and 8, 9 and 10 if you're really lucky, but that would lose you tons of time in a race like this, so it's just not worth it. As we see some terrible graphics on the screen as Nathan's lost the place. Down the straight, a simple DRS pass for him. Could that be a theme of the day? DRS passes. One Haas in first and one Haas down in 12th, but if they can stick on the back of the Ferrari, they could make their way back to the DRS train. Have a go at scoring some more points. Obviously points down to 12 in these races. So every point counts, particularly for those at the front, but also those in the midfield fighting for the minor points positions in the championship. Look at that front left tyre from Luke, picking up some marbles. Getting a bit dirty. That is the tyre that really complains around here. And is most likely to puncture. I wonder if we will see any punctures in this race. I kind of doubt it, as Alex King runs wide and gets a 3-second time penalty. For good measure. 7 laps in and 1 penalty already. Keeps on like that. He will have 9 seconds by the end of this race. Or even more than that, maybe. Why is there an Alpine cooling his engine? Is it really that bad? That's a bit strange. No, he'll have 12 seconds of penalties if I actually can do maths. As into turn 1. The Red Bull making up a place on Domen. Nice and easy, and these guys are 2 temps clear, but not in the right part of the track to make a move. So I wonder how this is going to play out between these guys, because it seems pretty clear that Mitch has got this covered. Look at the battery usage between them. He's got 40% more battery than his rival. He seems to have it covered in a straight fight down into turn 1. So either the tyre wear is going to kick in, or the strategy is going to kick in, and an undercut or an overcut or something could separate these guys. But so far, Mitch's straight line speed is just enough to keep him ahead of the McLaren, as we see Alyosha, I think, running wide, potentially getting a warning. So that'll be one to watch out for. As speaking of running wide, Alex King does it again and gets another penalty. Is that a glitch? Hold on, we do have penalty glitches in this game. We do have to remember this. This is a new feature of the game, of course, that you can run wide once and get a penalty. He did that on the previous lap. There's no way he got 2 warnings. In fact, let's have a look, shall we? This is a risk, because Race Director does sometimes break. Penalty and warning. Invalidated. Yeah, he's got a treble warning, I think, to get a penalty there. That's very unfortunate. Side by side. Oh, the Haas and the RB Red Bull, rather. And Domen's still trying to stick at it, as Nathan Powers now gets a time penalty. A lot of these time penalties may be removed, of course, at the end of this race. So this could be very difficult to keep track on who to overtake. Who's going to finish in what position on the road, and then what position when pens are removed or not removed. Could be a long day for the stewards in that respect. Ooh, Alex King is out. Where? Why? He's left the session. He's... I think that is another glitch plaguing Alex King. I think he's disconnected and unfortunately been retired from the session here. So that is the end of his race, and he pulls off to the side of the road. And he is the first retirement of the race. So then lap number 9, we're getting towards the pit window. Another 4 or 5 laps, I think. Maybe not. Maybe 2 or 3. I don't really know. As Oscar is into the box. Speaking of pit windows, he's into the box. Let's get the tyre graphic on the screen now, as the first driver has come in. And he's going to try and power an undercut, heating up these tyres as quickly as possible to make some places up in this race. Because right now it's been pretty much a stalemate between the top 10. No overtakes since the opening lap. We can check this by looking at the positions gained. Well, I say that, it looks like there's been some overtakes, but there really hasn't. As Cohen is the latest to fall foul of the time penalties. But they are down in last. I don't think they will mind too much. And they're sped in the pit lane, and I think that is their race done. Yes, it is. Second retirement of the day is a rage quit courtesy of an Aston Martin. Anyway, are there any of these guys going to respond to Oscar? I don't know where he was when he pitted. I think around 7th or 8th. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly he can gain on those hard tyres. Obviously 1.8 behind Jarvis at the moment, down in P15. Anyone going to pull into the box this lap? Alyosha, Paco. Alyosha is in. Alyosha is in, potentially going to undercut his teammate here as well. I don't even know if the undercut is powerful. We will find out. Where is Oscar McCracken at the moment? As there's a yellow flag out on track, as Mackie Bailey gets a penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Primoz is also into the pit lane. Many drivers into the pit lane. Let's have a look at Alyosha coming out of the pit lane. And that's a lot of times saying the word pit lane. As we see into turn 1, Lex is maybe having a go. Not quite. Alyosha then, cold tyres you can see, as Oscar will be getting his up to temperature, but Alyosha is way down the road at the moment. And Matt Bailey comes out in 13th. Look at the cold tyres, he's really struggling to warm them up and heat those rears. But when he does, they will be far superior to the old mediums. Far superior. Look at that clone McLaren being driven by both McLaren drivers today. So, will the top 2 respond? You surely think they got to. Or they will be under pressure. Does Mitchell worry about Alyosha more than Yerne? Or less? Does Yerne try and do the opposite to the Haas? All these questions will be found out in about 5 seconds as Mitchell pulls into the pit lane and Yerne stays out. He does the opposite. Paco is also in. And Mitchell gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Now that is crucial, because that is going to cost him any chance of a race win here. If that is a valid penalty, which they always are in this game, that penalty is not bugged. And that is basically the end of Mitchell's race for the podium. A disaster for him. Where's Alyosha going to come out of curiosity on this undercut here? Is it powerful? The warm-up's really poor, particularly in these dark conditions here at night. There is the Haas driver. There is Paco. Are these guys going to be battling into turn 1? No, Alyosha feeds out in between the two of them as Lucas Hodes puts on the soft tyre, which is a bit of a rogue choice. But yeah, Alyosha has not been able to get past Mitchell. However, he is closer, so he might be side by side with Yerne when Yerne comes into the pits. Because Yerne was, of course, the driver ahead of Alyosha, and Mitchell was the driver in the lead, so he has closed that gap considerably to the leader. Probably by about a second. Or 0.8 or something. And now look at these guys, your net race leaders. If you forget about the penalty for the Haas driver. Mitchell, followed by Alyosha, followed by Paco. And then Oscar, 1.8 behind now, but probably not a bad undercut from him. There's plenty of drivers still out there on the medium tyres and still going. They're trying to build some sort of tyre delta to come back at these guys later in the race. I did mention it before, Mitchell had it covered in terms of straight line speed. And of course, Yerne may not know that he has a speeding penalty, that Haas driver. Although I would expect Alyosha to tell him in the voice chat, if they are in voice chat. As we see some more drivers pulling into the pits. Dom and the Haas teammate and Lex in the Sauber. Bios 66. Here's a move, potentially Lucas Hodes on the soft tyres, trying to have some fun, and absolutely steams past the Ferrari of Primoz. Into turn number 1, nice and easy move, and now how are these soft tyres going to fare? Because surely they're going to die in like 4 laps. This track is not one for tyres, and this tyre is not one for this track. It's just a bad combo. But right now he's going to have electric pace on his warm softs compared to cool, fresh hards. Lucas Hodes will be on a man on a mission for a little while. Let's see if he can get past Dom in an unorthodox location here. Or is he going to be boring and wait until turn number 1? In fact, we're going to have to switch away from that because the top 3 are into the pits. Yerne, Luke and Villius on the road. Where are they going to come out? I will watch Lucas Hodes' timing screen with great anticipation to see when he gets past the Haas driver. But for now, where is Alyosha and Mitcha? They're coming down the start-finish straight now, crossing the line, setting the fastest lap in the process. Paco beats it, but Yerne is going to be behind all of them. So he has sacrificed a bit of track position for now for 2-lap fresher tyres. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And the warm-up is difficult, as Yerne finds out through the first couple of corners here. Trying to burn battery to actually get into DRS, because he needs to get into DRS as soon as possible. Speaking of DRS, it's a DRS pass for the Williams driver up into P10, as I said, Lucas Hodes. And there's running wide is Primoz, and Nathan's trying to go around the outside of him, but it's not going to work. Lucas gets a 3-second time penalty for running wide at turn 2. Let's go back to the leaders though, as I heard a clonk as I switched off the camera there. Yerne has got into DRS and has not had to use much battery, so this could be a bit spicy now. He's tried something a little bit different, sacrificed some track position. He's going to have to make the overtakes on track if he wants to beat his teammate and also Paco for this win. As Domen gets past Lucas Hodes again, who's off into the gravel. Strange place to go off. I didn't see what happened, but we saw him off in the background. These soft tyres giving up already, it looks like, for Lucas. And that's the end of his race, really. So then, the top 3 provisionally. Obviously, we have some penalties. And let's go and switch to the penalties screen now, as Luke gets past Oscar. So Luke, of course, lost even more time with his overcut, but he's making it work. There's another time penalty for Lucas, who, that's a straight time penalty, not even multiple warnings. Is that going to be the end of his day as he pulls into the pits? Probably to retire the car. Yes, that is the end of Lucas's day. That is the 3rd retirement of the race. Paco also has a 10-second time penalty. When did this happen? When did this happen? Oh my goodness me. Another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I missed that. So that means it's a McLaren 1-2 at the moment, provisionally. And, yeah, that's pretty boring. I'm not going to lie, that is pretty boring. But what could make it interesting is the Red Bull here on old hard tyres. Going to get in the way of the leaders? No, he's going to pull into the pit lane. He doesn't want to compromise his own race. And he pulls into the pit lane to go onto the mediums and make a dash for it, as Mitch is weaving to try and break the toe. Down into turn 1. So Mitcha leads from Alyosha, from Paco and Yerne, but Mitcha and Paco both have 10-second speeding penalties into the pit lane. So they will be losing a lot of places. Down into, what, 7th at the moment, I think? Is 10 seconds. Let's have a look at that gap to leader. 8, yeah, so they're down in 7th and 8th at the moment, as Lex has decided his day is done here in Qatar and makes it the 4th retirement of this race. Hello Finn, thank you for taking the time to send a message in the chat. Vamos McLaren indeed, you are currently 1-2 net. And if I'm being pessimistic, I can't see it changing. It may be boring, because he does not need to overtake Mitchell, and Yerne does not need to overtake Paco, but maybe he'll want to for his championship points. Will the McLarens fight each other, Finn? Are you installing team orders? We'll find out. We will find out. That's not what we want to see. We want to see interval. There we go. Anyway, big break of toe for Mitchell now, who is on the back foot a little bit now. He's having to defend. He's having to think about it. And Yerne gets Alyosha gets very, very close. Very, very, very close. Next time around, if he can save a bit more battery, he will be through. McLaren is very OP this season. Now that is all thanks to Finn, to be honest. Picking the right people. You know, he didn't pick me. That was a good choice. Well done. Well done. But yeah, it had a good draft. Everyone was tipping McLaren to do well at the start of the season, and they did. And they have. And I don't know how they're doing in the overall in terms of wrapping it up at any point. But surely they'll be wrapping it up soon if it's close. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about the action, because action is coming. I can tell you, we've got a train from 1st to 4th. We've got a train from 5th to 7th, and we've got a train from 9th to 12th. You've got Alyosha for free. Everybody's free. Everybody is free. Yes. To be fair, I don't know much about the transfer window. They need to change the transfers in this league because it's too confusing. I don't like these mid-season transfers. Bin them off. Lock your team in and then have a transfer window at like week 6 to week 8 or something. Or no, week 5 to 7, transfer window opens. You can swap players, drivers, you know, and then close it again. You can still sign free agents, like people reserve drivers, but you can't sign like someone from another team because it's too confusing, especially the Aston Martins, right? The team's been completely changed apart from myself. I don't know who anyone is, realistically. There's a new driver every week. Some drivers, we hired Etu. He didn't even do a race. We fired him the next week. What's going on, you know? Anyway, look at this. Yerne is all over the back of Paco and might have a go. Have a go. Ooh, nice camera angle. Well, yeah, I think Yerne's going to have a go at his teammate eventually, because he's got the pace now with the 2-lap pressure tyres. Don't think you should be able to trade for draft picks. Well, I don't really know how that works. It just sort of happens, I've got to say. It's like all these team principals tell me they have a big plan, and I'm like, I don't understand the plan. No. TP concept is one of the best things about this league, in my opinion. It makes it unique. I don't see other leagues doing this. Maybe I don't see enough leagues, but that's why I love it. So we're not removing TPs. I say we, I'm not in charge. As Villiers gets past Oscar, yeah, we can't remove TPs. That is class. Shall we have a look at the back markers? Because this is looking like a decent little battle. As here comes the Haas driver on the, well, the Ferrari driver on the Haas driver, I should say. And is Nathan going to have a go around the outside? A little bit of contact, actually. He's going to be passed by Randinho up the inside. That's not gone well for the Aston Martin driver. Why do I have to switch to an Aston Martin being overtaken? Round the outside here for the Red Bull, though. Surely not round the outside of turn 4 on the fresh medium tyres. No, the Haas holds on very well, sticking his nose in up the inside. And we'll hold on to P10 for now. Oh my gosh, it's as if I talk to chat, they might talk to me back. This is incredible. I should do this more often. This is wonderful. But I want to see this amazing overtake from the Red Bull here. Because so far, out of 10, this race has been a snooze fest. And he runs a bit wide, so that's going to compromise him. And he does all the work in McLaren. So should we just say that Andy has engineered this mastermind of a championship. And Finn is the, I don't know, PR. You do public relations. Yeah, marketing. Anyway, 3-second time penalty for Arjan, as I hear another crunch. Maybe that's just a feature of that corner. Let's go back to the back markers as Randinho probably fancies himself, but he doesn't have any batteries to do so. Neither does Dom, and he's used it all to keep in DRS of Primoz. And a little wobble for the Ferrari driver as he holds on to P9 through turn 2. Driver ranking. What do we mean by driver ranking? Because I think it's quite hard to rank all the drivers, especially the season just gone, because a lot of drivers have increased in skill or the opposite. You know, you can't just... I mean, you could take the previous standings, I suppose. But then there's a lot of new drivers and all that. Yerne's all over the back of the Mercedes. I need to keep watching the race. Surely he's going to have a go. He's put too much downforce on the car. You need to tell him this. He's put too much downforce on the car. Arjan v Nathan could get interesting because Arjan's got 100% battery and has run wide. What is Alex Gillen's system? Can somebody explain this to me? I don't actually know what it is. Is this some groundbreaking, I don't know, spreadsheet or something? Here we go then. Arjan on Nathan. Defend for your life, Aston Martin driver. The green machine is under threat by the Red Bull. A little dummy to the inside, and actually he does go for it up the inside. They're going to be side by side as Nathan tries to hold it round the outside, and he's doing so. He's got plenty of speed. He's got the inside for the next corner. That is a beautiful defence from the Aston Martin driver, but now he's compromised. And is he going to have the good speed to carry into turn 4? Yes, he is. Absolute brilliant driving from Aston Martin to hold on to the final points playing position provisionally. That's a penalty. That is definitely a time penalty. Book him, ref, as Nathan also runs wide. So we're going to ignore that. No bias in this commentary whatsoever, as we've forgotten about the front 4 because I'm pretty sure it's not going to change at all. Oh, I don't have time to watch Alex Gillen videos. I'm sorry. I need to go watch Grimsby v Manchester United. Come on, Grimsby. No, maybe I will watch it if it's a good thing. I don't know. Tennis ranking. You get a tennis world ranking. Goodness me, that seems like it would take a long time. As Alyosha's now only 2 tenths behind Mitchell. Could he win it on track for the pride and glory? No. Come on, Grimsby. Do it for League 2. Yes. We don't like. It would be hilarious. It would be one of the funniest victories I've ever seen. Yes, you do. Mansfield v Everton. Go on, Mansfield. As Nathan Powers has had a little tussle with Arjan, and they're still fighting for it. Is he going to be able to hold it around the outside of turn 2? No, he's not. And I think Arjan has got the better of him on this second time around and is up into P12. It's a difficult day for Aston Martin. Again, no points at the moment, which is honestly just very sad. Finn is Gunther Steiner. Finn, are you Gunther Steiner or Zach Brown? Does all the interviews and doesn't actually do anything apart from be a face on camera. Anyway, these guys are all going to burn all their battery, but then not change places yet again. Ooh, Alyosha thought about a move. He dummied one to the inside, but ultimately he doesn't need to take any risks. He doesn't need to take any risks because of this time penalty. It has ruined what could have been a brilliant race right now, although Paco's going to take a risk. Paco's going for it up the inside of Alyosha. Alyosha does not need to fight it, but he is going to fight it around the outside. Can he hold on? Paco's through. What an exceptional move that was from Paco, as Alyosha might try around the outside of turn 6. It is turn 6. But he can't quite do that, and now Yerne's all over the back of his teammate. This is for the net race lead. Now this has made it exciting. Paco's taken it on his own accord to make this race interesting by putting the McLarens together and making them into a situation where they could crash each other out. In fact, Yerne's going to go for it now up the inside. Are they going to crash each other out? Yerne's all over the back of him. He's side by side and he's through into the lead. Oh, they could have crashed each other out there. That would have been beautiful. No bias, of course. The draw, I think, is after the game, and Alyosha's tyres are gone. He's run wide. He's got severe understeer. And now Yerne is going to try and win it on track instead of just on penalties. As Alyosha runs wide again, that could be a time penalty for him coming soon. Luke is gaining 2.7 seconds. Could he get involved? Could he get involved? Probably not. But we'll pray for it if they do some more fighting. What have we got? Mitcha didn't need speeding into pit lane. No, nor did Paco. Like, Paco could easily have wrapped up this title if he was a bit luckier and didn't make a few errors. Like this speeding penalty, and he got a puncture in another race, and he got taken out in a race, I think, and he's just been very unlucky. He's had the pace to be done with this, I think. And that's what everyone's been saying all along. But Yerne's had a 3-race, what's the opposite of a head start? You know. Mitchell gets another time penalty. So he's definitely not winning this race. And in fact, right now he's coming 8th. Where's the gap to leader? There it is. Yeah, he's coming 8th. Or 7th even. How do you join the league? The Discord is probably in the description. If it isn't, that's poor from the league owner. It's a very good league. You should join. Anyway, speaking of good leagues, is Yerne going to make a great overtake? No. He's not gaining at all in a straight line on Paco. But they do concertina slightly into turn 1. You know what? I've got to give credit to these guys. They have done this race very quickly. It's not even been an hour. And we've nearly finished our race. I will see maximum amount of Grimsby Town Masterclass. That is good. That is good. Also, back to the point about transfer windows for next season. I think this season, some drivers obviously gave up on the game and stuff because they were rubbish at it or whatever. I think that will be less of an issue next season because the people who sign up will actually like the game. Obviously, a lot more people like this game than the last game, but you know, it can be still just as frustrating sometimes. Hello, I'm here. They are here. They don't talk. Nobody talks. Yerne is all over the back of Paco. Is he going to go for a move? I hope so. Yeah, Dean, join the Discord. It should be somewhere on the channel. If it isn't, then I don't know. Oh, he's really closed up under braking. I thought he was going to go into the back of him and cause an incident. He doesn't need to cause an incident. This is literally fighting for nothing, which is depressing to say, because we want to see action. And he's getting a great run here on Paco. Surely not into turn 4, one of the most risky overtaking places on the track. I am talking to you, Dean. Hello, Dean. As Yerne thinks, oh, Paco has to defend to the inside. Why is he defending? He's being aggressive with his championship rival. And Yerne's thinking, oh, it's all kicking off. It's all kicking off here. And this would be brilliant if it was actually for position and championship position. Luke Mills is probably quite happy with his P5 at the moment. He's going to beat Paco and not lose too many points to Yerne. 5 points or so. They could be level on points. Somebody do the maths. Yerne finishes 2nd. Luke finishes 4th. What's that? 6 point. He will be losing the championship by 1 point. There you go. As Yerne takes 2 stabs of it into turn 14. And Paco run wide. Is that going to be a penalty for him? He's lost DRS. Has he lost DRS at the detection? I think he got it at the detection, which will save him for now. But on the next time around, he could be under pressure. Severe pressure from the McLaren driver. He does not have DRS. He did lose it at the detection. But Yerne does not fancy overtaking. Interesting. as Luke Mills still gains. He's now up to 2.2 seconds behind. Shall we have a look at Oscar? Because he's actually got a fight for actual track position and actual points. It's the battle for 6th. And it's between Oscar McCracken and Vilius Lastauskas here. Lithuania versus Britain. I think he's Lithuanian. I'm pretty sure he is. You can do mid-season sign-up. There should be a channel for that. Although there are only 2 races to go after this one. So you may want to wait till next season anyway. Which will probably be about a month after the end of this season. So I'd say next season in about 6 weeks to 8 weeks from now. Roughly. I don't know. I don't make the league. But yeah, Yerne's all over the back of Paco here. And surely now, as Paco's tyres have gone off the cliff here, this is going to be it. It means nothing. Paco aggressively defends the right-hand side as we head on to the penultimate lap of the race. And he's gaining, he's going to the outside. He's going to be far clear into turn 1 before Paco can even brake. And he is, and actually Alyosha is now having a go on Paco himself. I want to switch to Oscar McCracken because this is for track position and he's gaining a lot as well. He might send one up the inside here on Vilius. He absolutely does. Down the inside for the RB driver, but the Williams has the great grip around the outside to hold on to it. The outside line at turn 1 is actually very good for holding on to position. Yeah, it's very, very possible to do that. We've seen it a couple of occasions in this race. So it's definitely a thing. Zaryan gets a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and his race, he's going for fastest lap actually. His race is not over. Nathan Powers also in the pit lane for a fastest lap attempt, as Jarvis will take the points off both of them. Maybe he was in the penalty window anyway, and will be in P12 for Mercedes. So a valuable point for the Constructors' title maybe between those two in this tier. As Paco gets another time penalty, and that's going to cost him another position, potentially. Yeah, he's going to finish behind Oscar at this rate. He's going to finish behind Oscar McCracken at this rate as we head onto the final lap. Is Nathan going to get lapped? No, he's alright. Is Alyosha going to be able to get past Paco? I don't think he's got the straight line speed. Not quite, as we head into the braking zone. But this is the battle that really matters. Oscar McCracken's got no battery. Vilius has no battery. They're both pushing like crazy. Vilius has run out of battery slightly earlier, and now the gains are really big. Round the outside for Oscar. Can he make it this time? He tried the inside the first time, and now he's holding it around the outside. Almost a wheel bang between them, but Oscar's holding it on the inside and cannot quite make it through. Understeers wide off the track. Vilius holds on very well. Great defence from him. Almost a collision between them as Oscar understeered through that left-hander. But yeah, great racing. Unlucky from Oscar not to be able to get past. I don't think he'll be able to send one through the rest of the lap. We will wait and see on that one. Can we give a big round of applause to My Game and OBS for not crashing so far this race? That is very much deserved. Speaking of crashing, there's a yellow flag. For no reason. Is there a reason? He's got a puncture! Has he got a puncture? Wait, what's going on? He's out of fuel! Mitch is out of fuel! What's he done? He's got it all wrong. He's out of fuel on the final lap. But Jerne Dujvan is not out of fuel. He wins the race. It's a McLaren 1-2 yet again with Alyosha in second place. Luke Mills picks up a podium. Silently gets on with it and picks up a podium by not getting any speeding penalties. In the background we see Vilius getting up to P4 with Oscar McCracken just behind him in 5th. Will Matt Bailey? No, he will not. It will be Paco in 6th. Mitchell in 7th. Matt Bailey decides to... Wow, that's a spectacular crash across the line for the Alpine in P8. Primoz finishes... takes 8th now on penalties. Domen is provisionally 9th. Make that 10th as Randinho crosses the line to take P9. That's Camel. Matt Bailey's all the way down in 11th. Jarvis will finish in 12th despite not being here, apparently. And will Ian get fastest lap or Nathan? This is what we want to see. Let's get the lap data on. He's 1 second up on his previous best. I don't know what Ayan's doing. Purple middle, it said, for both of them. This is for a valuable point in the championships between either of these drivers. Ayan crosses the line to set a 22.2 fastest lap. Can it be beaten by the Aston Martin, the green machine? Can he beat a 22.2? No, it's a 22.3. That is a shame. There is your race. I don't know what happened to Mitchell. He ran out of fuel. I don't know how he's done that. I guess he didn't care once he got the 10-second time penalty. Hopefully we can see the race results and race director. Please do not load up, everybody. There's your podium. We don't care about that. We care about the actual results. Cleanest driver goes to Villiers. Oscar McCracken gets driver of the day. But Yerne wins again. Luke in P3. Alyosha in between them. Then Villiers, Oscar, Paco, Mitchell, Primoz on debut takes P8 despite not getting off the line. Camel in the Red Bull for his second race, I believe, is 9th. Domin in 10th. Matt Bailey gets a couple of points in 11th. Jarvis gets a point in 12th. Ayan gets a point for fastest lap in 13th. Nathan Powers, the only driver to finish the race and not get a point, in 14th, followed by DNFs of Lex, Lucas Hodes, Cohen and Alex King. Let's have a look at the race director real quick, because there will be many penalties that potentially need removing. So that may affect the race result. So because of that, I will make sure the whole race result is visible. There we go. That is it. I'm going to go watch some football because I can't be bothered to talk about that race because it wasn't very boring. See everybody next week for the next race, which could be Spain. Could be, I know Belgium is the final race, which is the sprint race. I think, is it Spain? Have I just made that up? Or is it actually Spain? Make sure you vote in the driver of the day poll that I will put up very shortly. It is Spain, I was correct. So yeah, until then, goodbye.